Seems like everybody talks about credit scores and how important they are, but I don't remember anyone ever teaching it to me in school. If you're anything like me, then as soon as you graduated, you probably got a credit card offer, making it seem as if it was free money that they were just handing out. So naturally, you went out and started balling. And then you went out to go and get yourself a car or an apartment, and were told that your credit score didn't quite meet their requirements. Okay, so it really is important. Then how does it work? What's their purpose? What are they even based on? What's going on, my beautiful people? My name is Mark Beneke, a proud member of the Westland Auto family. And in today's video, we're going to be covering what credit scores are and how credit works to help you understand what you need to do in order to build up your credit and become financially stable. Now, you might be wondering right now, what does financial stability have to do with credit scores? Everything. And my hope is that at the end of this video, you're going to recognize exactly why. I'm going to break it down into 3 sections: the purpose of credit, what credit score models are based on, and how credit scores work. And don't worry, I know it may not seem like it would be a very fun topic, so I'll do my best to make it fun. Now, I cannot stress this enough. If you do not understand what the purpose of credit is and how credit scores work, then you will always find yourself in tough financial situations. Kind of like a crash diet. You'll find a temporary boost only to come slamming straight down. So let's jump in. The purpose of credit. Now, I'm sure you've probably wondered at some point how something that is so under-taught carries so much weight within our society. What does it represent? Let's look at it this way. Let's say that you just bought yourself a home and you're really proud of it, so you want to show it off to everybody. You invite all of your friends and myself. We're all having a really great time together, and I stop you and ask you,
"Hey, would you mind renting a room to me? I'll pay you $800. And don't worry, I'll rarely come out of my room anyway, so it'll be almost like if I'm not even living here. It's easy cash for you. You have my word."
You know me, but it's more like a buddy of a buddy, so you don't really have the most experience with me, so you're a little bit hesitant. But your mortgage is $1,400. This would be covering over half. A handshake later, and I'm lugging all of my into the closest room during the party. A month passes, and you can't believe how little you've actually seen me there. You feel like, man, it's the easiest $800 I've ever made. You pull up your phone, and you give me a call, only to have it forwarded immediately. Maybe I'm not home. That's okay. 2 more weeks pass. Now, a month. Little bit more time passes, and you start smelling something funky coming from in there. Enough is enough, don't you think? You open the door and find a nasty mess in there. There's food everywhere. Cockroaches are just coming out. It smells like sulfur. There's stains on the carpet, and there's even I think you got the point. You might have even thought that I had the entire Fresno Zoo in there. Naturally, you kick me the fuck out. It sucks. And if you would have known that this is how it was going to be from the get-go, not even if I had offered to cover your entire mortgage or more than your entire mortgage, would you have moved forward with it, because you know that you would have never seen the money. A couple weeks later, you get a call from your mom and dad letting them know that I had come by their place and asked them to rent a room. What would you do? Unless you absolutely despise your parents, I'm inclined to say that you would probably warn them to not even consider it.
Please, no! No!
Now, if I had been a great roommate that had paid rent early, had cleaned up after myself, had left on very good terms, chances are you'd probably be letting your parents know this was a no-brainer. Let them in. And that's what the purpose of credit is. The credit system is a quick way to provide an analysis for potential lenders on the probability for someone being able to repay back a loan. And that brings us to what credit models are based on. Now, if we go back to the example of the botched agreement, you may have noticed that it was all done by a handshake and you did not verify anything. You based it solely on one phrase:
You have my word.
So what factors go into a credit model? As humans, we operate based off of past experiences, and we also operate based off of a pack. In very close-knit communities, the age-old adage still applies. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. Not that extreme, of course, but it's told in history in a number of different ways, kind of like the boy who cried wolf. This is done in order to keep the pack in line and working together. However, when you get into big communities, this breaks down. We can't keep track of that many people strictly with the word and promise system. So instead, we create a system that can somewhat mimic that. However, a system without the intimacy and emotional knowledge that allows a promise system to work breaks apart, which is exactly why they add a few more layers. The biggest of which is your financial stability. By being able to include financial information, how well you've paid previously, how many people are approving you for loans, how much available credit you have, how you use it. All of these things can provide a fairly good idea of the likelihood of you being able to stay true to your word. And in order to represent this likelihood, they assign a score. This score is used by potential lenders or institutions to get a quick idea of who you are in order to determine whether you guys would both be a good fit for each other. Brings us to how credit scores work. All right, so now let's imagine that your parents are trying to get some information on your good old roommate, but you're in the army and are actively deployed, so you can't communicate with them right now. They're still trying to figure out if it's a good decision or not. And since they're at a dead end, they decide they're just gonna pull up my credit. Within an instant, they see my credit score pop up with a ton of other information that kind of seems like mumbo jumbo. 352. All right, not bad, right? Well, it's kind of like bowling for the first time with the bumpers off. The major scoring models that you'll find used in the United States range from as low as 300 to as high as 850. Think of it kind of like a report card where you're graded from as low as an F all the way up to an A+. F means that there's a little bit of a struggle going on, while an A+ means that you are passing with flying colors. The principal and your parents don't need to be watching you daily because your grades reflect exactly how you're doing. So remember how I mentioned that a potential lender would be able to quickly determine if we would all be a good fit for each other? This is because the score range is a direct representation of how financially sound your current situation is. Based on your previous history, your credit score would represent how financially stable you are right now, and it'll also show the likelihood of how well you'll perform in the future. If I were somebody that had a strong financial foundation, meaning that I lived within my means, I knew how to put money aside and have a healthy savings, and that I didn't go around asking everyone and everything for money, I'm trying to get some crack rock. Chances of me being placed in a position where I'm not going to be able to pay somebody back are pretty much non-existent. Sure, there are always freak situations like major deaths, major accidents, layoffs, all kinds of things like that. But even then, somebody with a strong enough foundation would have already pre-planned in the event that something like that could happen. So again, chances nearly zero. So in reality, credit scores are completely based on your financial stability. The higher your credit score, the more financially stable you are, which means you're a reduced risk because you will always be able to fulfill your promises. In my case with your parents, having a score of 352 is letting your parents know that I am not financially stable whatsoever. I have no control over my financial situation. If they were to look at it on the surface level, it would be extremely risky of them to move forward with something like that, unless they have a specific plan in place or they have additional information that does not show up in the credit report. And that's one of the most important points that this leads to. Credit models are based on history, not the present. They're typically very good at predicting things moving forward, as long as none of the variables have changed. However, if something does change, this breaks down completely. And this is exactly how our buy here, pay here model is able to operate so well. This next part is extremely important. But first, just really quickly, I really do hope that you're getting a lot of useful information from this. And all I ask in return is a very tiny favor. If you happen to be in the Fresno area and know somebody who could use our services, all I ask is that you be kind to them by letting them know about us. Not only would you be personally rewarded for it, but you would also be helping somebody better their family's future. You can find more information about our referral partner program in the description below. And if you're not in the Fresno area, then all I ask is that you be kind to somebody. Anybody. Something as simple as paying a stranger a compliment can go a very long way. Thanks. And that brings us to our last section. Credit is a tool. Financial stability is a lifestyle. If you start learning about money and getting your financial house in order, you could see a drastic change on things moving forward. Your credit score has no way to be able to know the actions that you are currently taking, what you're learning, and how your mindset is shifting. But over time, as you begin taking the actions that will stabilize your finances, it'll start building up the history that will increase your score. All of the boost your credit score quickly things that you see out there are complete shit. Not that they don't work. Don't get me wrong. They can. However, they're just a patch to the problem, not a real solution. If you don't get a solid foundation that could hold up the rest, it'll just come straight back down the moment that the wind blows a little bit too hard. Credit is a tool, and one that can be manipulated. There is no way to manipulate financial stability. That is a lifestyle. And it's one that could open up more doors than you ever thought possible. Now, to sum it up, credit models provide an analysis of your past to predict your future so that lenders can quickly determine the risk level involved when extending credit to you. It's based on human psychology of small communities where your word is based off of your actions, with the added layers to accommodate a massive population. And that is all based on the signs of your financial stability, which determine your credit score. The closer to 850 that you are, the higher the chance that you're financially stable. The closer to 300. So if there's anything that you took from this video, just know if you focus your attention on what the core of what the credit score stands for, then you'll always have a good credit score. Because all of the factors that the credit models use to determine your score will play directly into that. And that is absolutely crucial to figure out as well. So in order to figure out all of the factors that affect your credit score, check out this video right here. Thanks, and I will see you there. Okay, bye.